Welcome back to Zip Rock. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell.
Searching for Ruby. It was a beautiful day on the beach. The sky was a lovely shade of blue. A gentle breeze made the leaves of the coconut trees rustle and sway. The waves of the calm sea gently rolled onto the shore of Pallikaduwa. Pallikaduwa is a seaside town on the southern coast of Sri Lanka. People love to swim in its warm, shallow waters and enjoy sunbathing on the sand at the edge of the beach. At the edge of the beach, where the warm golden sand meets the tall grass, a small boy named Nadun and his kitten Ruby played happily together. The sun was shining brightly and people were swimming in the sea. Nadun. Then, something extraordinary happened. The people nearby became excited. They stopped swimming and pointed at the water. Nadun scooped up Ruby in his arms and ran to the beach to see what was happening. He couldn't believe what he saw. The water in the sea was running away. The water kept pulling back as if it was being drawn by a magnet far, far away. Nadun stared in wonder as hundreds of silvery fish wriggled and flopped helplessly in the wet, empty sand. A big crowd of fishermen ran to where the sea once used to be and began to gather up the struggling fish. Lots of people stood around wondering just what was happening. Suddenly, Ruby jumped out of Nadun's arms and ran towards the tall coconut palms on the shore. One of the fishermen shouted in alarm. Nadun turned to look, and his eyes opened wide in amazement. A giant wall of water had risen from where the sea meets the sky and was roaring down towards the beach where the people stood watching. Nadun turned and ran as fast as his legs could carry him. He ran away from the crowds of people and fishermen, calling out to his beloved Ruby. The roaring noise behind Nadun got louder and louder, but he kept on running faster. With the water, the sea swirling around his feet, Nadun clambered up the base of a rocky slope. Thoroughly frightened, Nadun kept on climbing. Then a strong hand gripped Nadun and carried him up to the very top of the slope. Nadun looked up and saw the kindly face of a young schoolteacher. "Are you all right?" asked the teacher in concern. Too frightened to speak, Nadun nodded his head. "Look!" cried the teacher, pointing sadly to the bottom of the slope. Nadun saw that the entire beach and land was covered in black, muddy water. He saw houses and little snack bars, cars, vans, and even lorries swirling in the water. The teacher guided Nadun to the school that was situated on top of the big rock. He noticed a big crowd of people gathered around the school building. Many of them had lost their homes and families in the rushing waters. They were listening to a radio that was broadcasting the news. It seemed that the big wave had washed over great areas of the country, causing a lot of damage. Nadun's Amma was with them. She was crying as Nadun ran up to her. She hugged him in relief. "Amma, where is my Ruby?" cried Nadun desperately to his mother. "I'm sorry, but Ruby may have got washed away," said his Amma gently as he clung to her. Later, Nadun learned that the giant wave was called a tsunami. What a strange name for such a terrible wave of water, thought Nadun. The next day, when the waves had gone back to the sea, Nadun decided to go looking for Ruby. He climbed down the rock and started walking among the ruins of the houses, hotels, and shops that used to surround the Pallikaduwa beach. Nadun looked and looked for the little kitten, but Ruby was nowhere to be found. Nadun walked up to a big tent nearby. He saw some foreign doctors giving medicine to the people. Many of them had been hurt, and the doctors were treating their injuries. A friendly nurse was talking to some children of Nadun's age. She smiled at the little boy. "What is a tsunami?" asked Nadun. He learned that it was a word from the Japanese language. The nurse told him that tsu meant harbor and nami was the Japanese word for wave. A tsunami was caused by an underwater earthquake deep in the sea, far, far away. He discovered that this caused waves that then quickly traveled very fast underwater until they came near the shore of the nearest country. Nadun learned that often before a tsunami, water from the shore of the sea gets pulled away. Then the waves start to travel very fast as 100 miles an hour, so when they hit the shore, the damage they cause is terrible. "But how is it that we escaped?" asked Nadun, shaking his head. "That's because you and others like yourselves climbed up the rock to escape the floodwaters," said the nurse. "Always remember, in case of a tsunami, you should watch out for the signs. It usually starts with water rushing away from the beach. The moment that happens, don't wait. Instead, run and climb up a hill or onto the roof or the highest floor of the biggest building you can find." Nadun walked to the ruins of someone's house, sat down, and started to cry. Tears rolled down his cheeks as he sobbed and sobbed. He called out Ruby's name over and over again. Suddenly, he felt something soft against his leg. He wiped his eyes and looked down. It was a little kitten rubbing itself on Nadun. No, it wasn't Ruby, but another little kitten with silky grey fur and a cheeky meow. "Where did you come from?" asked Nadun, stroking the little kitten. "Who do you belong to?" "He has no one to look after him now, but I realized, Nadun. Ruby will not come back, but life must go on," thought the little boy to himself. "It's the only way, so come with me," he said. "But I will always remember Ruby as someone special in my life." It was another beautiful day in Pallikaduwa. The sky was a lovely shade of blue. The sea was calm as it used to be. Through the ruins of the houses and buildings, a small boy and a kitten could be seen walking away, leaving a set of footprints on the wet sand of the beach.
Silhouettes of you are like